head to Victoria now and connect with OMNI BC political analyst Kim Emerson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Always good to have you on the program because you break it down with without all of the sort of veiled political, I don't even know what to call it, gobbledygook that we've been hearing. And so really kick us off here with your thoughts on politically what's been going on this summer between the government and the BCTF.
I think what you're reaching for is BS and bafflegab.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So what's happened is obviously no settlement. We're at a position now where the BCTF is going to vote today, as you've been reporting so far this morning, on going back to work, going back into the schools if the government agrees to binding arbitration. Twice they've already rejected that idea. They rejected it again yesterday when we talked to the finance minister about the first quarterly report. So we're at the impasse still. Now the whole point here, this is the best move the BCTF could make going forward because it will get the public and keep the public on side, because binding arbitration means an end to the strike that everyone is sick and tired of. The government, for its part, will not agree to binding arbitration, and the simple reason is this: it's not politically expedient for them to do that. They have a mandate in their own minds that they've portrayed of balancing the budget and protecting taxpayers' money. Binding arbitration would definitely give teachers more than what the government is offering at the bargaining table. And what that would mean is that everybody else who has a contract coming up after this, for instance, nurses, people who bargained contracts previously also have Me Too clauses. It would mean that there would be hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars extra that would go to settle unionized contracts, people that deal with the province of BC, and the government says that would put them into a deficit situation, and that is not protecting taxpayers' money, and they have no intention of doing that. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, give us an idea. When we say binding arbitration, we hear about it in sport, but there's more than one way for this to work, right?
Well, look, arbitration is simply somebody comes in, a third party, generally in these cases a judge would come in and look at things. They'd look at past contract settlements, they'd look at what's going on between these two sides, they'd look at how far apart they are, and they would decide what would be a fair agreement in their mind. That wouldn't be fair necessarily in the government's mind. Now, that's just arbitration. Binding arbitration means you agree to be bound by what that third party decides, and the government has no intention of doing that because they know it would be more money than what they're offering.
So what's going to happen in your estimation in today's vote with the BCTF?
I would be absolutely shocked if the people who turned out to vote didn't vote at least 80% plus in favor. If they vote less than that, that means that their union executive is not in touch with the membership, and that is not what I'm hearing at all. Teachers I talk to, education assistants I talk to, they all say that they are strongly united on this idea, and as I mentioned at the beginning, this is the best public relations move they've got, because this would end this thing, and nobody wants to see it go on any longer, but sadly, it is.
Haven't seen a lot of the Premier in the news, as we've seen Education Minister Peter Fassbender and BCTF President Jim Eicher. But Christy Clark, the Premier, does have a trade mission trip booked for India in early October. Many thinking that perhaps this must get resolved before she goes. Your thoughts on that?
Not a chance.
No.
Plain and simple. No. Look, it's not going to get resolved because she's here. Plain and simple. She has stepped into this thing once. She made some comments that maybe weren't too prudent, making reference to teachers being greedy, wasn't helpful. The legislature resumes October 6th, and the government has said they're not legislating teachers back before the legislature opens, and the Premier leaves 3 days after that. So it is not going to be settled by the time she goes to India.
Wow. So when do you think this might get resolved, and do you think it will be deemed an essential service at some point?
Well, now that's another interesting point. Essential service is a completely different deal, and the government has the option to go and apply for that, but the minister was not committal on that yesterday when we were talking to him about the finances of this situation. He's not committal about essential services. It is something that's been done in the past so that most students will be able to go back into class. They would get a limited amount of education. Now, just as a quick aside here, there's a school in Victoria where parents have decided under a UN charter from 1991, they're going to occupy a school later this week, take their kids into class and start teaching them.
Wow. That is a big move. I've got only seconds to go here, but E80, when we're talking about money or class size and composition, what are we looking at here from your view?
Well, the problem you got is both sides see this completely differently. The government sees this as a way to bargain into the future with what their proposal is. Teachers see this as the government wanting to take away any rights that the teachers have going forward to bargain class size and composition. That's not the way the court case reads. It reads that that is still available going forward, but they both read this differently. This has become a major sticking point, and between the two of them, they can't get it right.
It's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks. Hopefully we talk to you often and get this resolved. Thanks so much. Kim Emerson reporting live for us from Victoria this hour.